So we start a new month today in February of 2024, and we have new assets free. And these assets that I'm going to present to you are my favorite, and I will explain you why. But before that, don't forget to subscribe to Woolon.com and get coupons for our past and future courses. As a subscriber, you will get emails with codes that you can redeem to boost your career. Our newest course is about modeling using Unreal Engine 5. Get ready to create models without the need to use external tools such as Blender or the very expensive Maya. Finally, don't forget to give a like, subscribe, and a comment to our video. If you have a subject you want me to cover in the future, please leave it in the comments. Okay, let's get started. Well, right now it is the month of February in 2024, and this is the things that are presented in Unreal for free. So I just get into the marketplace, we get to the free and in free for the month. I have to tell you guys, to be honest, that they didn't impress me very much for this month. And I don't want to cover these elements like the replica building systems, stats, and achievement integrations and advanced. This is not the kind of things that I like to get from the asset or from the marketplace, just because I like to control my things in coding. But what I like to get into the marketplace are things like the stylized model, modular crystal mine, and the fantasy interior environment. There are two different designs, two different styles, and we're going to cover every one of them. Good things is that for everyone, we have a version that is available for Unreal 5.3. And as we want to play with Unreal in the last version, in the latest version, definitely this is a good thing to have in consideration. So let's go to the examples. So I created a third-person game-based game on Unreal, and here is the Crystal Cave and the Fantasy Interior. Let's go to the Crystal Cave first. The Crystal Cave has an interesting things that I want to mention. The first one is that they created these very well-structured folders. In this case, we have the blueprints, and basically they are a couple that are very, very simple. I remember the most important is the BP rails and these BP rotating crystal. Now, I always expect when you are exploring this kind of assets in the market to have at least a demo for the models that you can see them all together. And I love that they have this section inside the maps where you can see a lever where you have all the assets. Let me present it to you. Here you have all the assets that are included on this design, and I think this is very nice because you can literally go very fast and check what are the ones that you wish to use. And you have to see that the details, as you can perceive here, they are low poly. These kind of things are very important to know because if you want to create games with a style of low poly, I love the style of low poly. One of the most important games in the world, which is Fortnite, is low poly. The characters are low poly, and in the ambient, all the things around it, it is low poly. So having a very well ordered library of assets that you can use to create low poly video games are fantastic. This is another example. This is a game I like a lot, which is called Deep Rock Galactic. And the style of this fantastic game, and look at the reviews, overwhelmingly positive. This game is fantastic, and look at all the style. The style is absolutely low poly. So don't think that just because you're using Unreal, you just have to consider to use a very well final rendering game. You can also create low poly games like this one. The other thing that they presented is this showcase map, and I love this showcase map. I got to tell you that it presents everything that you need to know or need to test for the game. Let me try to make a very quick movement over this scenario. And you can see how using these very simple assets inside the game, they create this fantastic cave. I even explore here on the bottom of this one, and it's really great how they presented everything. Let me try to move maybe a little bit faster. Move it to 3. Yes, good. And look at this. This is a trail for the for this kind of carriage, and it is really great. And the other thing is that if you play the environment, you can move through it, and you can see all the details that they added to this game. So consider this in case you want to create, let's say, something like the maybe a Lord of the Rings games where you're going to be inside caves and literally working with other dwarves. I think it's a really interesting scenario for you to consider it. So here it is. Other very nice folders to check here are the ones, for example, in the foliage, where you can see all these crystal rocks around. You can literally inspect every one of them here. I love when things are presented as an order as they are here. And the other thing is well, a small fire effects that you can create, but here you have it as well, and it's going to merge perfectly with the environment of this low poly design. So I really recommend you to download this one or purchase this one for free this week, this month, and get it, put in there, because you never know when you can create a game in the artistic style of low poly. The other thing that is interesting about low poly is that even if you want to create a game, and let's say that you don't know how to model in 3D, even hire an artist and create characters that are going to be in low poly is a lot cheaper than create characters that has really high resolution. So this is another thing to consider if you are an indie developer and maybe you're limited by the budget. The other asset that we were talking about is the fantasy interior. So let's go here to Unreal, and this fantasy interior. This, different to the previous one, has a lot of details, and I'm going to go to these details. So let's go to the fantasy interior. As you can see, here you have that the Crystal Cave has a bit more folders with more details than the fantasy. In the fantasy, we have the blueprints, which are very simple elements like this one. Let me try it and open it. And this is a good thing because you can also play with the blueprints in case that you know how to work with blueprints. You can play with this. Of course, they have the map as well. And these maps are really great. First, the asset overview map, just as in the previous case, where you are going to see all the assets that are included here, and they are going to give you like a very good inspecting view for what you want to create in the future. When you try to open it, at least in my case, this error was presented, which was for me a bit annoying, I have to say. Nevertheless, you can check everything here and look at the details. Let me go a bit slowly in this case. Look at the details of these assets that are included here. This is another level. It's definitely different to what we watched, what we saw a moment ago. This is definitely another kind of elements that you can use in your video game. Maybe in some occasions you can mix them with low poly. I don't know, probably these books, but it is also something that you must be careful because you don't want to mix different artistic styles in your video game. I have to say, I really love this asset as well. And the other level that they presented is the fantasy interior. In this case, they use all the assets to create a room. Again, you're going to be prompted with this message, clear, close, and you have this beautiful created room with all the elements that are there, even the web. Oh, look at that. It's pretty cool. Let me click EG. And here you can see, if you can imagine this, if you can translate to a place, I would say that this could be a place like a Harry Potter's style place, I don't know, apartment, house, or something like this. It is looking really, really good. And look at the details here, for example, in the kitchen with all these elements, one over another. And remember that if you want to inspect a particular element, you can always go to the outliner, and in details, you can go to the static mesh, which is here, and you can inspect the static mesh here as well. The other thing I want to remind you is that you can use the filters in Unreal. Let's say that you want to see only the static meshes. So you can click here, and even if you go to any folder, you're going to see only the static meshes. And seeing it like this, it has some advantages because you know all the elements that you can count on when you are creating your game, and they're very well ordered. And I have to tell you, it's the same case for this one and that for the crystal cave. So you can define, you can make your filter, and based on your filter, you can see the elements around it. These are the two important assets I have to tell. Again, from my perspective is I don't want to make mechanics. I don't want to download mechanics from the asset store or from the marketplace. Sorry. I like to create my own mechanics. I like to have control over them. But when we are talking about things like the assets, definitely I'm always open to look what Unreal brings for us. Coming back to the marketplace, these are, I downloaded all, but these are the two that I definitely recommend you to have. And I'm trying to create some order in your folders. So you could say that you create a folder for just low poly assets that you might have, props that you might have. And then in the moment that you decided to create a game for this style, you can find everything ordered. Thanks for watching this video and to support the channel. Remember to give a like, subscribe, and a comment. And don't forget to join our amazing subscribers community on Woodland.com, which is receiving free content and coupons that they are redeemed to learn more about video game creations. What are you waiting for? I'll see you very soon.